Cheers.
Cheers to another episode.
Episode
Man,
2.
yeah. What's in that? What's in that right there?
That is a little peach margarita.
Peach margarita. Okay.
Yes, with a
Okay.
little
I'm
tahini rim.
on a peach margarita. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. I know I asked you to surprise me with what you sipping on today.
I am just sipping on some Prosecco with a little mint and cucumber, some frozen strawberries as a garnish.
Okay. Beautiful. Beautiful. Love it.
I had to take another sip. It was kind of good.
All right. All right. Well, let's just jump into today's episode. We kind of digested last week's episode. What did you think about last week's episode? Just tell me what you thought.
Well, it was good. I did a lot of talking, I feel like.
Oh my God.
And it's always weird for me to like watch myself back on camera. Most people, I don't know about, actually I can't speak for most people, but for me, I don't really like hearing my voice. So it was a little interesting, but.
You have a beautiful voice.
Oh, thank you, love.
Come on now. Don't do that to yourself. But look, don't make it weird. Don't make it weird. Just make it natural. Make it natural.
I'm being as natural as I can.
Okay. Okay.
But no, I thought first episode went well. We had a little bit of technical issues, but for the most part, we're still learning. So
Yeah. We apologize for that, y'all. The audio wasn't where it was supposed to be, but we back, and we gonna grow. We hope y'all continue to grow with us. So
yeah, we're like wine. We get better with time. So
that's it.
Continue to tune in.
Yeah.
A lot more coming. Well, I mean, since we are here for a short time and not a long time, let's just get right into it.
Okay.
Let's jump into the discussion. So, after episode 1, we received some mail from our listeners on Threads, and one in particular caught our eye. So we just kind of want to bring that to light. And it was from Aqua Dream Machine, and it read,
Shout out to Aqua Dream Machine.
Thank you. It says, 1, it's best, but my husband has some singles in their late 40s and 50s and divorced friends. He is just very aware that he is leading a different life than they are. His best friend is single and just disastrous with women. Case in point, the guy upon first meeting me regaled me with stories of hanging out with prostitutes.
Damn.
My husband would have definitely ditched his best friend for me and understood why, but he himself would never spend time with prostitutes, etc. So as long as, 2, my husband himself is very, very clear on things his forever single friend does that he will never do, then it's not a problem. Meanwhile, his friend is actually a deeply generous and good male friend. So he's good to my husband, despite the friend's absolute incomprehension that if he only treated women the way he treated men, he'd be a much happier man himself. But yeah, it's still not ideal, but life is about working with what you got, not perfectionism. Okay, so my question is, should married men and married women only be friends with other married men and married women?
Wow.
Dun, dun, dun.
Well, okay, so this is what I think. So number one, I think the friend of her husband is a wild boy. That's first and foremost. I mean, I think he's out there dealing with prostitutes. That's a lot. That's a lot. He a wild boy. But as far as the question goes, should married men and married women only be friends with other married men and other married women? I think it depends on the person. Honestly, I think it depends on the person. If you are a person that is easily influenced by other people, then I think, you probably should only deal with, other married people, honestly. Somebody that is out here wilding, just sleeping around with other people, doing things that, single people do, and you're easily influenced, then you could be influenced to do some of those things as well and indulge in some of those things. So I feel like you really need to, know who you are as a person, and separate yourself from bad association if that is something that you don't do well with. If you feel
Facts.
like if you if you don't know who you are as a person, then that could get tricky. I think a person like me who is very self-aware and understands who I am as a person, like the way I look at it is what you eat don't make me shit. You know what I'm saying? Like seriously, like what you do
Oh
is
gosh.
what you do. So I've had friends that, are a little wild out there, in the streets, and
Yep.
they live their lives, and I don't judge them on those things. As a friend, I only try to help my friends. When I see my friends out there doing things that I wouldn't necessarily do, or I think it's then I try to give them advice and be a good friend to them. You know what I mean? And what they do doesn't dictate our friendship. I'm comfortable enough with myself and know what I have at home, that I will not indulge in the things that they do, or even think about doing anything that they do. That's their lives. That's their prerogative. For myself, you know, I just do me at all times, and anybody who knows me knows that about me. Like, me knowing that and understanding who I am is key. But for somebody who is just easily influenced, I think that it's important for them to know that and be aware of the company you keep.
I agree. No, I totally agree. I feel very similar on the topic. I personally think that it depends on the individuals, but for me, I don't think I know that old saying, "You are the company that you keep." Our mamas, I'm sure, used to. I know my mama used to say that to me. So I don't really agree with that situation. I don't think you are the company that you keep. I've had friends that are wild, single, and I'm not out there wild and single. But I've also had friends on the other end that are married, and although I do think it's healthy to be friends with like-minded people, I think it's also okay to attract the opposite as well in friendships. And I think it makes for the dynamic. I honestly, in a relationship, I think it's better to have a variety of friends. It gives you perspective on a lot of things. Speaking from experience, I am totally okay with you having friends with that are not married, and I don't feel a way about it, just because, kind of like how, to your point, like you said, I'm very comfortable within my relationship, our relationship, so it doesn't bother me to know that you have single friends, because I know how you are and how you act. So for me, it's cool, but for others, I feel the same way you said. I just kind of feel like it depends on the person. If
Yeah, yeah, I agree, and another thing, like when I think about like my friends who are out there being wild, like like I said before, that doesn't dictate, if I'm gonna be friends or not with you, right? Like,
yeah,
I feel like if you're a good friend and friendship is a mutual friendship where we enjoy being around each other, it's not a one-sided friendship, then I'm never gonna like turn my back on any of my friends because of the choices that they make outside of our friendship.
I agree.
And I think some people get too caught up in their friends' lives, and then they start to move different around them. You know what I mean? Like sometimes your friends need you, and that's what friendships are about. You help each other. You help each other
Yeah,
grow. Now, if the friendship is not a mutual friendship and it's always, you know, what can I do for you? And it's only one
yeah,
sided where you never get anything back in return. And it's just like they just take and take and take and drain
mm-hmm,
you. Cause I've been in situations like that too, where, that's draining for me.
yeah,
They didn't understand that that was draining for me. And, you got to know when to separate yourself from those friends, right? Sometimes you outgrow friendships, like life goes in a different direction for you, and they are still stuck where they were when you first met them. You know what I mean? And as
yeah,
you grow, you're not turning your back on them, but at the same time, like if it's just a draining relationship, and it's not a productive relationship, a positive relationship, then I think that's when you move forward.
Yeah. Well, I mean, how does one determine when they've outgrown a friendship? That kind of brings me to another topic. Like, how do you know you've grown a friendship? And I mean, I think that happens a lot. I think that people, they have um, childhood friends that they've been friends with forever, and then uh, you, people go in different directions. For example, one might get married out of that friendship, the other one may stay single. And at what point do you say, you know what, we are on two different books in our lives. I've outgrown this friendship, and I'm just kind of you keep going this way. I'm gonna go this way. Or is it a situation where it's like we're just gonna take a pause in our friendship right now because right now you moving a little bit different than I want to move? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, yeah. I think it's just you gotta kind of identify that for yourself. You know what I mean? Like friendships can be draining. When they're one sided, and I think that is where you have to determine whether the friendship is worth it. Because I have friends that I've kind of pulled back from, but that doesn't mean that I have any less love for you.
Yeah.
I just feel like my life has gone in a different direction, and I'm continuing to focus on things that are positive in my life, and anything that's taken away from the positivity and the growth in my life, then I remove myself from it.
Yeah.
Now if you need something, hey, I got you, but I'm not about to spend countless hours on the phone with you or
Yeah.
hang out with you every single weekend, and it's bringing what I have going on down. You know what I mean? So you just got to determine that for yourself. And I think when it's time to move on from friendships, because sometimes people don't know, and
Yeah.
then they stay in these friendships that are draining, and it's pulling them down, and it's a complete anchor, that's just not allowing you to progress in life. And that can happen with friendships or relationships,
No,
right?
for sure.
So that's kind of how I feel about that. It just depends on the person, and when you feel is your breaking point.
So I feel like going back to the initial question, I feel like your perspective is coming from friends that you've had for a long time. So to kind of to ask it, I guess, ask in a different way. Should married men and women only be friends with other married men and women? Is that in the sense that any new friendships developing in your as a married person, same situation? Do you see what I'm saying?
Like
Like
do you like? Are you saying like should you create new friends? Is that what you're
no, I'm
saying?
saying like I feel like the space that you're coming from is the perspective of these are friends that I've had. I've gotten married. These friends aren't married, and they're single, and it's okay. Because you're coming from the answer is you're okay with not having friends who are married, correct?
Yeah, yeah. I'm good off having friends that are not married.
Okay, so
Just
I'm
because I'm
saying
married
coming from the
doesn't mean.
perspective of because these are friends that you grew up with. If you're meeting new friends in the organic way, obviously, if you are meeting new friends, are you seeking friendships from people that are married, or you're fine with if I meet someone and it's a new friendship develops, it's okay that they're married or not married.
Yeah, I'm not looking to make any new friends. Period. Just to answer your question,
I
like
already did.
I'm. You already know how I move. Now my circle is small, and my circle is my circle. You know what I mean? If you're not in my circle at this point, like like I'm not gonna say like that a friendship can't develop. In life, I'm not closed off from meeting people and developing a friendship, but that has to happen organically. Like I'm not
Yeah.
looking for any new friendships at all. So if that answers your question, that's where I'm at. You know what I'm
Okay, I
saying?
got you. Okay. Okay, let's move on. Okay. Well, I kind of just want to stick on this topic slightly as far as now that we're talking about this, how do you feel about platonic friendships? Do you think that do you think that, how do you feel about platonic friendships in a relationship? And I'm saying it doesn't have to be in a marriage, in a relationship. How do you feel
Okay.
about having platonic friends?
So, I've had friends that are women, before you and I met, right?
Yeah.
So I have friends that I've been friends with for years, and because we got in a relationship, that didn't make me change who I was to them or anything like that. Like our friendship is our friendship, and I didn't look at you and say if you have any platonic friendships that you need to cut it off or anything like that either. Now, as long as you don't have a history or a past as far as like maybe trying to get together or
Yeah.
anything like that,
And it
or
just didn't work.
yeah, something didn't work or something like that. Like as long as it ain't nothing like that, that is good. If it's
You were
just
attracted to each other, and
yeah,
now it
yeah,
didn't go anywhere.
exactly. As long as it wasn't nothing like that, then I'm good with it. Like if there was a history there where y'all hooked up or something didn't work, then I would probably have a
That's
problem
weird.
with that.
Yeah.
That's a little different. As far as just having a platonic friendship and it's like nah, that's like my bro, that or like nah, it's like my homegirl. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
I wouldn't have no problems with that, honestly.
Okay.
Don't okay, B. Like, what are your thoughts on that? On that same question, like, what are your thoughts on that? Like,
I'm
I want to,
I'm
I want to hear from you now.
I I don't know. I'm cool with platonic relationships. I'm sorry. I'm cool with platonic friendships in a relationship as long as there's boundaries. I think that at the end of the day, and I also think it depends on it. It 100% depends on. I feel like age plays a factor in this. Like I feel like platonic friendships when you are young are different than when you get older. If I think about it, like, especially I'm talking about college days, all that, I feel like that's different. Teenager from that 18 to like 25 mark, I feel like it's a little bit different. And I only say that because most people at 18 to 25, most people, I'm not saying all, but most people aren't getting married that young or aren't in, and if they're in serious relationships, they're developing to become more serious. So I think as long as there's boundaries. So for example, if I'm 18, 19, and again, it's also, I've had some experience. If I'm 18, 19, and, you have a friend and you guys talk on the phone, or I think that's different. You know what I mean? Like, it's cool. You talk on the phone. I think that when you become 25, 28 in your 30s, reaching your 30s, like you're not talking on the phone every day with any of your friends. You know what I mean? So to talk on the phone every day to your platonic friend, like the opposite sex, I feel like that it gets a little weird. So as long as there's boundaries, or calling at the wee hours of the night, or when you're older, like unless there's an emergency, there's no real situation to be calling your platonic friend that is in a married.
Yeah, yeah,
You
but
know what I mean?
what if that was your relationship before that person got married? What
Well,
if
yeah,
that
I think
was a
that if that
friendship?
is your friendship like, before you got married, again, if you're young, that works. But I think that as time progresses, I feel like that there has to be a shift in that. I don't think that the same sex should do that. Like, I'm not. My friend is not calling me every day and expecting me to have a time to talk to them all the time, and I'm not expecting that of any of my friends that work that uh are in relationships, that are in relationships, that are married. I'm not expecting that of my friends. So I just feel like there has to be boundaries that are set. You don't drunk call after you're out having a great night, drunk call and just want to chat on the phone. You know what I mean? Like I just feel like there's boundaries in that. You don't do no surprise pop-ups, or it just don't make it weird. I
Yeah,
guess. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like, and I feel like for me, I feel like even as I don't. I feel like it's like you don't even have to talk about those things as you get older. I just feel like that's just how it should kind of progress. Although that might not be the case for everyone, but I feel like that's just I don't know. I feel like that's how it should be.
No, I agree. I agree with that take. I agree with that because I would have a problem if you had a dude calling you at wee hours of the
I
night.
know
You
you
know what I
would.
mean? Or
I know.
if you just on the phone to do it, you just keying. You know what I mean? Like all night on the phone, man.
I'm
Hey, we
glad you
gotta
touched
cut.
this. I
We
wanted you to
nah, we
speak
gotta
some
cut that.
truth.
We gotta cut that short. Like that ain't gonna fly with me. I'm just gonna tell you right now. So I do understand your take. I think yeah, there has to be boundaries set
100%.
in any relationship, really. And I think that when you're dealing with platonic friendships, it can get tricky. And I think that you have to, listen to your partner if you're. And this took me a long time to understand. I feel like I've been through that before, where I was just like, nah, that's just a homie, blah blah blah. You know what I mean? But you had a problem with it. You know what I'm saying? And if you had an issue with it, then you know, um, I had to grow into understanding those things.
Don't say problem. I feel like problem is a little bit
Okay. So you didn't have a
that's an
problem with it,
aggressive
but
word.
okay, not a problem, but I think you were questioning things at one point, and it was like I was young. You know what I'm saying? So
Just transparency. I think that there
yeah,
has to be a
yeah.
lot of conversation. I feel like for me, I feel like if I've always had friends that were I always had friends of the opposite sex. So I've had platonic friendships, but I was a lot younger. It never progressed in the way. I don't know what that feels like to have a male friend that I talk to on a every day. We hang out outside
I'm your
of
male friend.
it.
That's it.
You doing the most right now, but you are my male friend. But no, like I didn't have that, so I don't feel like you had the chance to experience what I necessarily experienced.
Yeah.
Because the friends that I was friends with, it was just like we cool. If I see you out, like we cool, we talk. Like it ain't nothing weird, but I'm also not, and I have your number, but I'm also not calling you and talking to you every day or hitting you up or coming by your house and chilling with you. Like I just didn't move like that. So you never actually had the experience. So for me, it was just like, just be transparent with me, so it don't make it weird. Like don't make it weird where it's like I find out later that you know y'all kicking it, and it's like that's making it weird. Like just be open. Like and it's like you might say, oh, well, I didn't do that with my I don't do that with my friend that is the same sex. So why I got to do it with my friend? Because I need you to do it.
Yeah.
That's why.
I feel like you just gotta listen to your partner and know what makes them feel uncomfortable, and you do what's best for your relationship and your situation at the time. Period.
Period. You said that. Period. Nah, but no. I mean, and just to sum it up, like again, I'm okay with platonic friendships as well. I think
Are you
it.
though?
I am. I am, especially if it's ones that were around prior to,
Yeah.
and I'm okay with that. But again, just transparency, boundaries, and I think I agree with you. I think it's weird. A platonic friendship as you're older, I guess, or I shouldn't say older, a platonic friendship as that you're a new platonic friendship is weird. Going
Yeah.
out there seeking friends of opposite sex is kind of weird.
Yeah.
Especially if
Like
you're
I
not
said.
going out there like you just touched on it. You said I ain't my circle is close. It's tight and you can't really penetrate it. So for you to be going and finding someone of the opposite sex to be friends with, I would be like, yeah, bullshit.
All right. Let's move on.
Moving on.
Let's move on. So we're gonna get into some media takes. So, last week we had a conversation about Aisha Curry being on Call Her Daddy podcast, and at the time I deferred to you because you had actually watched the entire episode, and I only was responding off the clips that I saw. But a week has passed, and I actually,
He did his homework,
did my
y'all.
homework, and I went back and I watched the whole podcast, and I'm doubling down.
So you didn't like that you said I could
No, no,
have
no, no,
that.
no, no,
You wanted
no,
to
no,
come back.
no. I'm doubling down
Oh
on what I
Lord.
said on my original take. I'm
Not you
doubling down.
spinning the block on the first podcast.
Yo, I'm not. Yo, you wild, you wild. You calm down right now. Calm down right now.
You need
No,
a sip. I
no,
need a sip.
no. But look
What you
on
about to say?
no on Aisha Curry. This is what I got to say. Like I listened to the whole thing. I did some homework, and I'm doubling down on what I said last pod because the honest truth is this: Stephen Curry has been a model of how to conduct yourself as a superstar. Whether it's NBA, NFL, MLB, NHL, like he's been a model on how to conduct yourself as a superstar athlete,
Okay.
right? And there has been zero negative press around Stephen Curry until she
Oh
speaks.
my God.
So every time she speaks, I feel like there's like some negative press that comes along with that, right?
Okay.
But when you look at Steph Curry, his entire career, he's never been in the press for any negativity. Like he's a model of how to conduct yourself as a
There was
superstar
a little
athlete. Period.
situation where he was trending one time, but we won't get into that.
What do you mean? What are you talking about? What are you referring to? Because you throw me off now. What are you
No, I
referring
don't want to
to?
throw you off. Go
Okay.
ahead. Stick to your point.
Okay, so my point is like the negativity comes from when she speaks.
Okay.
Whenever she speaks, whenever she's doing an interview, whenever she's on a podcast, she says something that is embarrassing.
So you prefer her to be quiet?
No, I didn't say that at all. That's not what I'm saying at all. I just think that you need to. I think that you have to know like who your significant other is, number one, and how they're
Facts.
perceived in a public eye, right? So that's one, like knowing
Okay.
that your person is, and you never want to put them in a situation where there's negativity attached to them, especially as a superstar athlete who's in a public eye at all times, right? So just understanding who he is not to like water down who you are as a person,
Oh, I like that.
but I think that you need to be cognizant of who he is, and not to put him in a situation where he may feel embarrassed. And I'm not saying that he feels embarrassed or not, because I don't know if he does or not. But after watching the podcast, I'm embarrassed for him.
Yeah.
With some of the things that she had to say, to say things like I didn't want kids, or to say things like I didn't think this was gonna go anywhere. We were nothing before, while we were in high school. I just thought we were gonna be friends, kind of thing. Like you were never attracted to him, or you were never into him that in that way. I think that's kind of embarrassing as a man. And like I said, I don't feel she should water down who she is, and maybe that's who she is and a part of her, and she speaks her mind, and I get that, but not at the expense of your significant other.
Gotcha. Okay. I ain't mad at it.
Okay. So, look,
No,
you don't have to respond to it or
No, no,
nothing.
no,
I
I
just wanted to
don't.
get that off. I know that I deferred to you last pod, so I just wanted to get that off, like double back,
No, you
and
had
hey,
to.
this is how I feel after watching the entire episode.
You wanted the last word. I
That
get
is not
it.
true. Come on,
No,
man.
I'm just kidding. No, I
You're out
honestly
of
I
pocket.
don't hearing you, I don't disagree entirely with what you're saying, because I think that you're right. He has an image to uphold, and I do think that she often, that's why I said I don't agree with everything that she says. I think that she often speaks up at the wrong times, and it can appear to be embarrassing to her significant other. So I don't disagree with that. However, I still feel like you didn't listen that great. But that's just
I
my.
didn't listen that great.
I
Nah,
just
I did. I actually
no, but you
did
just
listen that great.
said
I listened. I listened to the pod. Like I really did listen to the
no.
pod,
Okay, no, I'm actually glad that
and
you
I
did.
understood some of the takes that you made last week.
Good.
So I'm not saying that you're wrong about anything that you said
No.
last week, but I just think when I'm highlighting these particular comments, those are things that shouldn't have been said. It would have been a great interview without making those comments.
No, I
She didn't
agree.
have to make those comments, is what I'm saying. And I think that making those comments, just brings negativity
100%.
in the public eye, and
It brings attention to their relationship when it wasn't necessary. So I
yeah,
get what you're
in a
saying.
negative way. And like I said, like I don't know if he's embarrassed by it, but I'm embarrassed for him.
Yeah.
Because
She never said that she wasn't attracted to him. She said that she didn't think that he was into her like that, and she said that everyone had a crush on him.
yeah, but I
So,
felt like she was trying to clean that up too.
oh, okay.
So
Okay, maybe.
that's just how I felt after watching the whole
That's how you
thing.
perceive. Okay.
And I think that the comments that were highlighted that they did, make the clips out of, like, don't give them that. Like, they can't make clips if you don't give it to them.
I hear you. I hear you.
Honestly,
Well, I want to say cheers to that because I'm glad that you doubled down and you actually spun the block.
All right. Cheers up.
Cheers.
Cheers up. All right. Moving on.
Moving on.
There was something else that happened in the media.
Yes, let's talk about it. Okay, so Cam Newton sat down with Parker McKenna and admitted he asked his girlfriend for her full list of past partners. He said it wasn't about insecurity. He just wanted to know who might have one up on me before taking things serious. Cam explained that if one of her exes was someone close to him, it would be too heavy to handle. Jasmine surprisingly responded that she actually loved being transparent about it, calling it a weight off her chest.
Oh, wow.
Let's discuss.
Well, look, shout out to Cam, man. Shout out to Cam. That's what I'm gonna say. I'll say that to say this. If she did mess around with somebody that he knew, I mean, he said it. That'd be a huge blow, and they probably wouldn't go where they, where they are today. They probably wouldn't have made it as far as they made it today, right? But I feel the same way. I feel the same way. If you slept with one of my close friends, I really don't see no future there at that point. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't see a future there, And that's just who I am. So I understand where he's coming from because I wouldn't be able to take you out on no double date, or we go out on a trip. We go on a trip and then just having that in the back of my mind that somebody that we are with, messed around with my girl. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or one of my close friends messed around with my girl, like that I'm on a trip with now. Like
Yeah, it's
weird.
weird.
I would not be able to stomach that. Like that wouldn't sit well with me at all. So.
Did you watch the full podcast? Because now I feel like I'm going to defer to you because I actually only seen the clip. I don't know what actually happened in that podcast. So was he more?
He was interviewing her, and that came up. Because they were talking about body count.
But was he more focused on? I need to know. I need transparency on your body count because I need to know who the actual people were because I can't fool with that. That's too much on me. Or was he also concerned with the amount? Like if it had been some ridiculous amount, what? That's what I guess.
Yeah,
I'm asking that.
I don't think it had. I don't think it had anything to do with the actual body count.
The quantity. It just had to do.
I think it was more so who
okay
messed around or who you messed around with, because you got to understand, like Cam is a public figure. So the people that run in the same circles are also public figures.
I get
you know what I mean? And for him, he wanted to know, like, hey, who got one up on me? Who slept with my girl before I did, kind of thing. You know what I mean? So like he said, he has a lot of friends in that circle. You know what I mean? So he didn't want to be out and
no, I think that makes sense.
Like you gotta think about it. Like we out in the store or whatever, and we run into a couple of the homies, and then one of them dab me up, and they give you a hug and smiling at you or whatever, and you like, hey, bro, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna be like, hey, what the hell going on here? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, like you get one of them long hugs or something. Like, nah, hell nah. Like, I need to know what's up. Like, if we ran in the same circles for years, like, I don't know how I would feel about that. Like, if you and I ran in the same circles for years, and some of the people that we both know that are mutual friends, you hooked up with one of them, then I would definitely have a issue with that.
No, I would. I'm not for me. I'm not I don't even know what to call it, but I'm not a person. I totally agree because I'm not a person that's like, I couldn't even look at someone the same way if a friend had been with the person I'm interested in. So thank God we was not from the same spot. Because if someone had talked to, it'd be, I mean, we wouldn't be where we're at right now, and that would be horrible. So yeah, I can't. I get what Cam did, and I understand the transparency. I think it's kind of weird because, like, you know how, like, in high school, a lot of people end up being high school sweethearts. However, in high school, everybody dates all the same people. You just literally pass around. That sounds horrible.
That's terrible.
Not pass around. You literally just.
You talk about these kids.
I don't mean pass around, but I'm saying, like, you know, you have people that you go to middle school with, and then you end up going to high school, and then, you know, it just, like, you have friends that end up dating the same friends. Not to say that that's something that even in high school, I was never interested in that. But it kind of happens. I lived in a smaller area. So, you know, I lived in a smaller area. So a lot of my friends, they all dated the same. But I feel like there's still enough people for you not to come messing with somebody I mess with, and for me not to come mess with somebody that you mess with.
Yeah, I'm gonna say college and above. I'm not gonna say nothing about high school kids. High school kids is high school kids.
But I get why Cam did that, because that would be. I think that is kind of weird, because then it's like you can't. That is, and I respect him being 100% transparent on how he felt and saying that, like, nah, like, I need that, because that's too heavy on me to, like, deal with that situation, because not a lot of men would say that. And I think for me, like, especially dealing in that, being an adult, and you, like you said, walking around, if I'm walking around and you smiling at some chick and I'm trying to figure out why you smiling at this chick that I know, but I never knew you knew, and now I find out after we get home, you like, oh, you see, we had a situation back in da-da-da. I'd be like, and that's weird, and it throws you off. So I feel the same way. Like, I would want to know.
Yeah. So you know, I guess to sum it up, like, again, shout out to Cam, man.
Oh my God.
You know, shout out to Cam, man, because I gotta know too. Like, I can't be with a woman that has slept around with my friends, like any of my friends. Like, I just couldn't. I couldn't do it at all.
I agree.
You know, like, I just couldn't. So, you know, shout out to Cam. That's another one of our media takes. Again, man, thank you guys for tuning in to our Love Lounge. You know, this is the place where you're gonna get all of your relationship content, from good to bad, from lust to love. You already know.
Yes.
We're gonna talk about it. Anything in the media, anything that we've been through, we're gonna talk about it, man. But appreciate you all for joining us today. And, you know, like and subscribe, please. Like and subscribe. And
Yes.
we're going to continue to bring you all content. Cheers up.
Cheers up.
To episode 2.
Episode 2.
Cheers.